Okay, welcome back to Now Open Podcast, the sex education podcast that's more sex than education. My name is Jobim.
We don't have to do the intro again.
Good. Thank God. All right, so we were talking about small dicks, right? Welcome back to the podcast. We were doing the small penis portion. And what are some of the pros and cons that we were talking about having small penises? Right.
Well,
okay, so one of the pros that I hear about small penises is that because of the absolute length, right? If your penis is just the right length, again, this is one of those luck of the draw things, because if it's too short, then you don't count. But if you're within that 4 to 6 range, I hear if you know how to move it, not necessarily an in and out motion, but more of a, okay, how do I illustrate this with my fingers? It's not a like, where is it? High contrast. There you go. It's not a like this. It's a like this.
So it's like a rocking back and forth motion rather than in and out.
So the penis kind of just rubs against the G-spot. So I think that's a pro for small penises, is that they're able to do these like little vaginal acrobatics that I think bigger penises have a hard time doing.
That is absolutely a pro of small weenies. I think there, as you mentioned in the big weenie segment of this, there are certain positions that having a big penis can be advantageous, but there are positions where having a small penis can be advantageous. One such position is doggy style. It is insanely painful for any penis or dildo above 6 inches, at least personally.
But if you fuck like on your belly with a small dick, that's one of the best positions, because you're reaching all these different angles. Another pro to small penises is that women won't run away from them. I have heard so many stories, and this is the con side of having the big penis that we talked about in a previous episode, was that or in part 1 of this episode, is that people will talk about your penis, but not necessarily in the good way. I've also heard horror stories of women seeing big dicks and being like, that is not going in me. That is not going to fit.
I think that every person who has had sex with a person with a penis can attest to saying no to a penis that's too big. Yeah. I think it has happened to all of us at least once. I've had many opportunities to have sex with men with big penises, and it was a very polite, no thank you.
Well, now I just feel bad, because
I value my health.
At no point has anybody ever seen my penis and gone, no.
But that's good, because you get to have sex with them after.
I guess.
Because the no is an immediate stop to any penetrative sex.
I guess. What are your so what are your personal experiences with big and small penises? Good and bad.
I have had quite a few of both, because I have slept with a lot of people with penises, a lot of men. So I've had quite a range from small to big. And what's your
take on them?
Based on my very limited sample size, I can say that there is some truth to the idea that people with big penises do not give as much of an effort. So an additional pro to people with small weenies is that because they were raised to be so insecure about their penis size, a lot of them try to make up for it with really good technique, and they actually learn how to please you.
You know what? We try harder. That's fact, man. We try harder because we don't take anything for granted.
Yeah, according to Nick, you're forced to learn to compensate, meaning better ocean movement or better tongue action. Yeah. And I will say that no man with a penis size bigger than 7 inches has ever gone down on me.
Yeah, you know what? That's true. Here's another thing people don't talk about enough, is that dudes with small dicks are generally more giving in bed.
Absolutely.
Because we know it stands for a place of like insecurity, and we know we're not going to please you the way a dude with a big dick is going to with our penises. So it's like everything else at our disposal, which dudes with big dicks just don't ever, like, why would I bother caressing gently with my fingers the back of her neck if I have a big penis, right?
Exactly. So many men with big penis, they do not try. Because they feel like they don't have to.
Rhea is back and she's given us the terms in Hiligaynon for all the different penis sizes. Could vary per area, but in Hiligaynon, according to size, uh, what is that? Size and age. Pisot, pitoy, buto, and tarugo.
I can see how pisot and pitoy would be kind of like small words. They sound like diminutives.
Did the word tarugo come from Ghost Fighter, or did Ghost Fighter inform tarugo? Because that would be so fucked up. That would be so fucked up if it was the other way around. Some Philippine languages have the same words too. Afaik, Bicol, and Waray.
As far
Cool.
as I know.
Oh, okay. Like, I've never heard of this dialect, Afaik. All right, I'm a dumbass with a small penis. All right. Isn't that Taguro? It's not Tarugo. Okay.
Jobim
for
spreading
clarifying
misinformation.
Thank you for clarifying that, Tin. I'm so glad we have a fact checker on the show. Okay. I think this is a good place to take off for our opening up, where we have an anonymous letter, and they write, I tried dating a sex positive person and it started great, but the way she talks about it makes me feel overwhelmed. She often talks about a months-long honeymoon in passing. I love sex as much as the next guy, but she might be a nymphomaniac. All other aspects are fine except for these sexual expectations. Is she the problem, or am I? Is this salvageable? Okay. I'm having a hard time understanding what months-long honeymoon means. When Anonymous says she often talks about a month-long honeymoon in passing, what does that mean? Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
I think she wants to have a month where they just fuck like rabbits.
That
sounds pretty fun.
It does sound pretty fun,
but also tiring.
If I remember correctly from when we had Dr. Rika as our guest on the show, we did talk about nymphomania and the myth of nymphomania, and how there is no such thing as a nymphomaniac. In relationships, there is only a difference in desire. So from what I learned from Dr. Rika, there's nothing wrong with either one of you. There is a gap in communication between expectations and desire. I think if you guys had a conversation between what she expects of you and what you're actually willing to give, I think it might be able to clear up some things. Because she often talks about a month-long honeymoon in passing, tells me that you guys haven't had a discussion about it. It's always just mentioned in passing. So open up the conversation. But please don't feel like there is anything wrong with either one of you. In my opinion, it is not only salvageable, but a problem that is relatively easily discussed.
And very common,
Yes.
Whenever there's a difference in libido or sexual desire, the problem isn't the fact that you have different libidos and desires, because that's just a fact of life. It's neither good nor bad. Where the problem
exact same
desires
exactly. As you, yeah.
And especially because hormones and libido fluctuate. So sometimes maybe she'll be the nymphomaniac, and maybe there will be a period where you're the nymphomaniac.
Yeah.
It really depends on a lot of factors. The real problem comes in when you're trying to figure out how to meet both of your needs. How to make sure that both of y'all get what you want. So it sounds like you don't want to have as much sex as she seems to want, or has expressed to want to have sex. And the good news is you don't have to have that much sex. Right. Because it's about that conversation that you need to have about, hanggang saan ang libido mo and what you're able to provide.
I think a problem that people with difference in desire often encounter in trying to bridge that gap is the worry that by compromising, your partner is somehow less happy. Right? And that's not necessarily the case. By compromising, you both get what you want. Don't think of it as your partner being less happy. Think of it as the happiness being divided evenly.
Oh, that is so cute.
So there you go. If you'd like to send us your anonymous questions or confessions, you can submit through our opening up form. And now, back to the discussion. So if size doesn't matter, if there are so many pros and cons to having a big penis and a small penis that it's pretty much a well-rounded thing, what actually does matter in bed? Trisha?
Hmm. Well, first, I'd like to say that size does matter a little bit, and it
Hmm.
does matter sometimes, just not in the way that you think.
Really?
So yeah, I think that size does matter because we talked this whole time about the, how there are some women who love big penises and there are some who will run away from it in terror.
Hmm.
And from this, we can see that size does play a role in whether we choose to engage in a sexual relationship with someone because you are thinking about your own comfort. So size does matter because sex is about making both people happy and making both people comfortable.
Hmm.
So there will be some times where you be too small, or maybe there will be some times where you be too big, and not to take it personally because it does matter, but it doesn't make you less of a person
Okay, I think
because there will be other people.
I have a really good analogy for this. Your penis size is like your face. Okay, you're not necessarily good looking or ugly, but there will be some people on this earth who will find you the most beautiful creature who has ever walked the face of this planet. And there will also be other people who look at you and be like, not for me. And you live that reality daily. You don't walk around this earth thinking, damn, everybody doesn't find me attractive. It's the same with your penis. You just have to walk around with the knowledge that there will be some people who are going to love the fuck out of your dick. And some people who'll be like, not for me.
Absolutely. How about you, Jobim? As a person with a penis, what have you found matters to you more than penis size?
Vagina size.
I'm kicking you off the
No,
show.
no. I don't know, man. It's been kind of a toss up for me because I've had amazing sex with people who I'm not emotionally connected to. But I've also had bad sex with people who I'm super emotionally connected to. So I can't just say that it's just the emotion. Uh, I've had good sex and bad sex with people who I've had similar fetishes with. I really don't know what it is. All I know is that I know how to work my penis, right? And I know the techniques and things that I employ to get certain reactions and to give certain kinds of pleasure. And I just kind of play it by ear. I think for me, the what's important in sex, aside from your penis size, is reading your partner. How good are you guys at reading one another and being able to give the other person exactly what it is they want at that moment without having to write it down on a piece of paper 3 days ahead of time? Although that's also pretty sexy as well.
So, from what I'm hearing, is that you have your technique down because you know what works for you and your penis. You're not trying to pull off the moves of people with 8-inch dicks. You're pulling off
Yeah.
your own Jobim style of sexy time.
My guy, my penis is like my magic carp, okay? And I have
What?
gone through gym after gym, beating this little fish against the wall until one day it became my Gyarados that just like beat all other gym leaders in the way, right? So I had to go through so many rounds of sex where that didn't work for me to learn how to use my penis. And I think it's just the same with everybody else.
Yeah. And I really like what you said about like learning on the fly, going off of the signals that your partner is
Hmm.
giving you.
Hmm.
Because the truth is that big or small weenie, nobody is born with the knowledge of how to please another person and not how to please a specific person because everyone is different. So being able to listen and adapt and respond to what you're receiving from your partner, like that is how you develop your technique. And that is how like penis size doesn't won't even factor in anymore if you're
Yeah.
able to communicate.
For instance, if your partner sounds like this, it might be time to stop pushing. Listen, listen, pay attention, adapt.
That was beautiful.
That's what we're saying.
So what are some other things that have come into play aside from penis size for you? Well, your penis size.
I don't know. I don't think it's so much about the other things because we talk about the other things on other episodes of the show, right? We're talking about penis size tonight, and I think what's important when it comes to penis size and sex is to know how to use yours. Right. I think that's the bottom line. Is we've listed all the pros and cons of being able to use a big and small penis effectively. The only prerequisite to that, the first step into upping your sex game, uh, with regards to your penis size is first being honest as to what kind of penis you have, right? Which is, I think, the hardest step for most men.
Honesty is very important.
Yeah,
Like,
I
can you
mean,
imagine going into it thinking you're gonna meet a person with a 6-inch penis and you get there and it's 4? The betrayal.
that's always why. Okay, here I know I've said this on the show so many times, but as a general rule, I just tell people I have a small penis. Not unprompted. I don't walk around telling people I have a small penis. I don't do that. If it comes up in conversation, if anybody ever asks, I always say I have a small penis, because when it comes down to it, the moment of truth, worst case scenario, they see your penis and they think he was telling the truth. At least he was honest. Best case scenario, they see your penis and be like, that's much bigger than I was expecting it to be. So I think as a general rule of thumb, and to kill this obsession with large penises, I want to start this movement of all men claiming that they have small penises. I don't think any man should ever say the words "I have a big dick" ever again. Just keep people guessing, right?
It should be banned from our
It
vocabulary.
would be the greatest equalizer on earth if all men just walked around telling everybody they had a small dick. Nothing to prove to anyone anymore.
It's very humbling.
It's very humbling. That's why I'm so fucking humble.
Jabim, famously humble, Javier.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up our discussion on Jumbo Hatdog, the size debate. What did you learn from today's episode, Trisha?
I think it's less of what I learned because I don't have a penis, but what I would like every person with a penis to hear, especially if you've ever felt bad about your size, more often than not, you care about it more than the people you're sleeping with care about it.
Yeah.
And like being able to have that confidence in yourself that you can still please someone because you are a good lover and a good listener, you know, that's way more valuable and that's much better than having a big penis, which is something you can't control. So trust us. We just like having things up there. That's what the universe, you know, we just like having things up there.
That's a shirt right there.
Yeah.
We just like everything up there. Well, for me, I have very strong opinions about, if in case you didn't notice throughout the episodes, I have very strong opinions about the perversion of the idea of penis size in today's society, right? Because I am of my philosophy about penises is what I said earlier about the faces, is that it should be normal. And I feel like it doesn't get talked about in the same conversation, in the same way as like fat shaming does, you know, as body shaming does, when it's exactly the same thing. It's a ridiculous, unrealistic, high standard that in the real world benefits nobody, right? It's literally a thing that has been created to sell things, to market the idea of something. And the more we spread that message that big dicks aren't important, big dicks, they exist. That's the new slogan, man. The more we instill that, I think the faster we can get rid of all this fucking toxic masculinity that's going around. Because I think that a lot of toxic masculinity does stem from society's obsession with men needing to have large penises.
Absolutely.
So there you go. I think I think it'd be a good service to remove this obsession with big dicks from our society.
Agree.
So stay updated with Now Open by following us on Facebook and Twitter at NowOpenPH. Our past episodes are also available on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts, you slut. Don't forget to subscribe to our coffee page, www.ko-fi.com/NowOpenPH to get bonus content and other special perks. And if you like keeping if you'd like to keep the conversation going, we'll be migrating over to Now Open's Gather Town after the end of the show. Join us at bit.ly/NowOpenTown to chill with the crew and other customers. Trisha just showed me this Now Open Town thing, Gather Town, last week. And it's like Stardew Valley meets The Sims. It's awesome. We get to hang out in a little virtual bar. I'm going to be there. Trisha's going to be there. I'll see you there. Next week, our episode... I hate you for making me read this. Sinong tatay mo? Gender roles in the Filipino family. See you when we next open.
Thanks, y'all.